I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Today we're reading from the book of Psalms, chapter 58, and let's focus on verses 6 through 11. This is a prayer you don't usually hear in Sunday school. Break their teeth in their mouth, O God. Break the fangs out of the young lions, O Lord. Let them flow away as waters which run continually. When he bends his bow, let his arrows be as if cut in pieces. Let them be like a snail which melts away as it goes, like a stillborn child of a woman, that they may not see the sun. Before your pots can feel the burning thorns, he shall take them away, as with the whirlwind, as in his living and burning wrath. The righteous shall rejoice when he sees the vengeance. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked, so that men will say, surely there is a reward for the righteous. Surely he is God who judges in the earth. Now, when I was a kid, my friends and I entertained ourselves by a little prank where we would call people. Remember that? Back before the days of caller ID, you call up folks and we'd say, is your refrigerator running? And they'd say yes. And then we'd say, hope you catch it, right? Stupid stuff like that. We also got a lot of laughs knowing some unsuspecting department store operator was paging Amanda Hug and Kiss, looking for Amanda Hug and Kiss on the loudspeaker. And of course, like I said, the days before caller ID were kind of fun for kids. And quite possibly the motivation for whoever invented caller ID. One of my friends called me once pretending that he misdialed the hardware store, and he asked if we had something to get blood out of a carpet. Lots of blood. You know, blood is one of those things that leaves a terrible stain, often permanently. And so as a young believer, I never understood the imagery, being washed clean by the blood of Jesus. How can something that stains be used to remove stains? Consider this from Revelation chapter 7, verse 14. And so he said to me, these are the ones who come out of the great tribulation, washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. How did blood wipe away stains and make something white? 1 John chapter 1, verse 7. But if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus Christ, his Son, cleanses us from all sin. So today's passage is the first time in the Bible where we are presented with the idea of washing something in blood. People are washing their feet in the blood of their enemies. But the image of washing here does not denote cleansing. The word washing or bathing in some Bible translations is meant to describe the level of intensity of God's judgment. The intensity is so great that you're going to be swimming in blood. And so, is there any connection to the imagery of the New Testament believer who's been washed in the blood of Jesus? And those righteous of David's day whose feet were washed in the blood of their enemies? Yeah, I think there is a similarity. Remember that while Jesus knew no sin, he paid the penalty for the sin of the world. Let's review that. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 21. For he, God, made him, Jesus, who knew no sin, to be sin. Literally, it means the sin offering for us, that we might become the righteousness of God in him. So here's the similarity. Through Jesus's shed blood, which led to his death, God's vengeance towards sin was laid upon Jesus, just as the vengeance toward the people who were oppressing the godly in David's day. He laid that vengeance upon Jesus. And that act of self-sacrifice, giving his life to pay the penalty for the sin of others, that fully accomplished the payment which was required to punish sin, to the extent that David prayed toward the judgment of his enemies. So while blood typically renders things to be unclean, the blood of Jesus renders us clean. Why? Because Jesus' shed blood is the evidence that God's justice has been fully satisfied in Jesus. The presence of Jesus' blood on our garment, or rather our soul, acts like a receipt that signifies that we no longer need to be cleansed. Oh, I see the blood on the doorposts of their hearts. And Jesus' resurrection testified to God's approval of what Jesus did on our behalf, that he has defeated sin, he has defeated death. You see, David's enemies had sinned and were also deserving of death for their sin. And David is saying, God, please let these people, the righteous, be bathed in their blood. Lord, let them, every one of those guys die. Let their blood be everywhere. You can't take a step without getting your feet in it. And in essence, that's what Jesus did for us, except he didn't kill all of the sinners in the world because that would have killed us. No, he took the sin of the world upon himself. And without that receipt on the doorpost of your heart, when you receive Jesus and what he's done for you, well, then that level of judgment toward you is still awaiting. Why would you sit around? Why would you sit around and risk another moment of dying having not received what Jesus has done for you? When you could literally simply pray, Lord, I believe that Jesus died on the cross for my sin, that he rose from the grave, and that he offers that forgiveness to me if I would turn from my sin and receive it. And then